Yeah, welcome to this channel. And in this episode, I'm going to be addressing some serious issues, okay? And this particularly borders on a class of people who are in the quadrant of employment, okay? Whether in the private or in the public sector, where you are working to be paid by the end of the month salary, all right? So, we have four quadrants of income. We have the employment, we have the self-employed, we have business, and then we have the investors. Okay, so today I'm addressing that of the employment. All right. The story is always the same. In employment, whether private or public, most times, as a matter of fact, for over 90% of employees, the amount you are earning at the end of the month is always equal or less than your expenses. Okay. I remember when I was there too, when I was with a new generation bank then, between 2012 and 2015, before the end of the month, I would always have to get 10,000 or 20,000 from friends, and I settle them at the end of the month. And most times I would wake up at the middle of the night and be thinking, for how long will I continue like this? And that I think is a question that should come to the mind of everyone who is responsible for his future. As a matter of fact, you are responsible for your future. Okay, there is a great deal of limitation for everyone under the quadrant of employment. All right, your future is not determined by you because you are a paid employee, whether federal, whether government or private. And then the biggest part of it that you might not have been thinking about is the area of pension. Okay, and I love you to listen and listen and listen good. The progression, because usually, especially those who are working with government, there's always this okay, yeah, we have job security, hey, yes, I'll be paid pension, here and there. Let me tell you about some traps and the lies in that thing you call pension. All right, let me take an analogy of a young man who just graduated and finds job with federal civil service. He probably starts with 100,000. Let me just use 100,000. Okay. Hey, there's jubilation. He has gotten job with federal government, job security. Okay. So maybe from he's earning 100,000. He's single. Okay. So after buying food and paying some of his bills, maybe he even has some 20,000 to be saving. Okay. All right. So after about 5 years, there is promotion. From 100,000 now he's earning 130,000. Okay. That's after 5 years. All right. So within this range, maybe he now gets married. All right. Before you know it, he has a wife and has 2 or 3 children. Now that 130,000 that out of which he has been having savings before, this time around there's no longer savings. Okay. So maybe now when he now clocks 20 years in service, maybe his salary now has been elevated to like 200,000. So he's still struggling after paying school fee, balances of everything. He's still like his income is equal to his bills. Okay. Now, fast forward to 30 years, maybe now he's collecting 250,000 or even 300,000. You know. So by the time he has spent 35 years in, meanwhile his pension is still reading. They are still paying his pension. They are collecting 18%. Okay, to of him and his employer's part. Okay, contributory pension scheme. Okay, so now by the time he's now 35, I just fast forward everything to like him earning 300,000. Now after 35 years, he gets retired, right? The first thing is paid gratuity. Okay, at least I know somebody who just paid gratuity this 2025, and the gratuity was 3 million plus. So in the economy of today, that 3 million plus inflationary effect has made it ineffective. Okay, now he collects 3 million plus, or let's even say he collects 5 million, even 10 million in this today's economy is nothing. Okay, so now let's assume the guy collects 5 million as his gratuity, and then in subsequent months he start collecting pension allowances, maybe 40 or 50,000. Some don't even collect up to that. Okay, let's say he's collecting 50,000, or even let's say he's collecting 70,000. Mind you, at this point he's now in his 60s. He's no longer as young as those days. Okay, now you now see when he was much younger and energetic, he was collecting more. But now when he's older, he's now collecting 60,000. That is enough that can be a genesis of depression. This time around, his health is failing, his immunity is down. So if he spends 1 year before going to hospital he has to be going to hospital now for like every 3 or 4 months. Okay, so you can now see all those job security we are talking about when you are doing government job or doing any paid employment. So you can see that trajectory, that journey, that progression is a retrogressive one. You are being paid big when you are young and healthy and energetic. But when you get old, you are being paid poorly. That is why there's always protest by retired, senior citizens. Okay? So you can now see that's where I want to open your eyes to what you should be preparing for. You actually signed. So anybody you see, so welcome. Anybody you see at this age bracket of 65, 70, collecting mega, such a person has signed for it from day one. From the day you sign up for government job or whatever employment, you have signed for that ugly reality. Okay, a retiree I met in a pension PFA office here in Abuja some months ago said to my hearing that if not for this useless government job that I've served for 35 years, I will not be going through this stress, because her time was being wasted. She was waiting for some information and she was saying her legs were aching and the taxi bill was leading outside because the taxi man was waiting for her outside. She said, if not for this useless government job I've done for 35 years, she said, if I've been doing business, I wouldn't be going through this rubbish. So I want you to open your eyes. So you have two options now if you are in that bracket of employment, whether with government or private. Okay? Reposition. I'm not saying you should quit, because quitting immediately may not even be the solution. What are you going to do to reposition yourself and beat that trap to have a fulfilling future? Okay, so that is what I'm going to be discussing in the next episode. Repositioning for the dream you desire. Unfortunately, most people don't even know what they want. You are just wishing it will get better. It will get better. You fast and pray in church or in mosque. But the truth is this: if no matter how much prayer you do, if you ignore the law of gravity, you will fall into a ditch. Okay? If there is no pavement, if there is no floor for you to march on, if you see a void, a hole, and you want to step on it by faith, you just find yourself inside that ditch. Okay, so there are some principles you must follow to make your life better. God has put it in your hand. So no fasting and prayer can change this one. Okay, so I'll talk more about that because I want this to be just 10 minutes episode. So I'll be talking about the next one, repositioning for the dream you desire, in the next episode.